cue power. Really not missing many of the tools to be a champion here on the WNT.
Yeah, but you got to come over and play in the events, and that's what he's been doing. He was a regular participant in the big matchroom events throughout 2023. Had some very good results along the way. The most famous of those, as we've said, was against Shane Van Boening, and he's looking for another one tonight. Duong Quoc Hoang gets us started.
You could kind of hear the clutter there, so not the hit he wanted on the one ball. And one thing that does concern me a little bit is, talked to Shane a little earlier. I haven't got to really spend a whole lot of time with him here this week, but you know, him being the last match of the day, and of course coming from the US, hopefully fatigue hasn't set in at all. Difficult shot here. Now edging the ball, I think he's probably the greatest to ever do it, just narrowly thinning the one. This is an issue here with the black 8 hanging in the upper right, so any look off of this probably produces some type of shot. So he played it nice, thick off the one, getting it away from that top cushion in the 8. Played the cue ball beautifully.
You can hear the healthy ripple of applause there. It's almost 10 o'clock in the evening here in Germany, but a decent portion of the crowd have stayed around to watch. And there are plenty more you can't see there, by the way, because there is another tier of benched seating above the arena. I understand ticket sales for the weekend have been very impressive, so we could have a wonderful atmosphere in here. The decisive matches of this World Masters.
Yeah, of course. The first 7 favorites winning. What a slate we have in store for tomorrow. Let's see what happens in this final match of round number 1. Cue ball's going to come open. So right here, is he going to attack with the 8 ball hanging up in the corner? Maybe a bank combination. Good chip off his left side, our right side of the 1. Try and run the cue ball. Hard to get cover though. I think he does play the 8, trying to draw the cue ball. And it's been something that he's kind of put into his practice regimen, is banking the balls a lot. He'll spend hours doing it. I don't know if he got any kind of play here on combination or some type of kiss shot. Safety looks difficult as well. Probably, of course, didn't expect to shave the 8 in and the 1 ball get back up table. That's why he drew the cue ball, expecting the 1 to stay down here near the blue 2 and the purple 5.
Extension called.
Not really sure what the shot is. Probably something very delicate, I would think anyways. Left a nice kiss shot here, playing off the 1 into the edge of the pink. He's got to control the 1 though, can't move the cue ball a whole lot unless he really wants to put some speed. You'll notice when we open the camera angle up, the blue 2 a little jammed up, and the purple 5. So, oh wow. So didn't like the kiss shot. Interesting safety. I'm not sure he got all of it. And that may have been the future of the 1 after making that, plus with the 2 a little locked up. This is the part of the game I think that Hoang can really keep up with these players, is the long ball. He really can come with it from distance. Looks like he'll probably edge the 1. But no, he's going to put him behind the purple 5 lightly.
It was the year before last that the name Duong Quoc Hoang started to get our attention as it appeared on the draw sheets at big events, and he did well in both of the game's 2 biggest individual events in 2022. Last 64 of the World Championship and last 32 of the US Open, where he ran Eklan close.
Yeah, the more time he spends out here on the World Nineball Tour, though, that game's going to improve dramatically. That's the place to do it. Unfortunate in Vietnam, they don't have, you know, an ensemble of great players. There are a handful, but great players, the better players, that's how you improve your game if you're in a position like Hoang. He kind of wants to avoid going into the brown 7 if he can. He doesn't want to jam up the 6 with the 7, the green 6 that's near. Like to avoid that. He's left the 3 a little up on the point and did move the brown 7 a bit. So now got kind of awkward from nowhere. Play from above the side pocket. Not getting very close to the 5.
Well, whatever way we saw things going there, that wasn't high on the list.
Yeah, and maybe trying to get a little more out of the cue ball than I anticipated anyways. Thought he would slow roll that in and just stay by that right middle side. You wonder why so short, but it's always odd coming from the center of the table when a ball's hanging, especially on the slick table. This lay's okay to come 2 rails at the 6 or maybe in that window between the 9 and the brown 7. He is a shot maker. This looks to be perfect.
Yeah, I expect to take a 1-0 lead from here. I was saying earlier that he doesn't seem to be fazed by any situation, no matter who he's playing, what the setting is. Out there in a single table environment, he looks perfectly comfortable right from the start. And he leads Shane Van Boening 1-0 in the last match of our first round. Something we have to talk about, Jeremy, is your return to competition. Next week you're playing in the ranking event in Scotland. So what was it that inspired you to have a go again?
Well, I've been wanting to play a little bit. Of course, I'm around it all the time, and I get the itch. Haven't got to really practice much, which is unfortunate, but that's all right. I always loved practicing. But yeah, I mean, I didn't expect it to be the field it is, and that's even more inspiring. But got to play in an event in Boston, not the 9-ball event, but I did play in another discipline, so it was a lot of fun. And I just thought, first time to Scotland. I heard good things about the event last year. Have a good friend that lives in London wanting to go play as well, so why not? You know, we're going to stop by the Crucible as well.
Yeah, making your first visit to the World Snooker Championship next week. Be interested to hear what you make of it all. And that was the Vietnamese flag you saw being flown there. And one thing that we were really alerted to in a big way in 2023 was the massive interest that exists for the game in Vietnam. It's a huge country, 100 million plus people. So one of the biggest countries in the world, and we became aware early last year that actually there's enormous interest, and that inspired the decision to then take a big tournament to Hanoi back in October, and wow, what a success that was. 1-0 to Duong Quoc Hoang.
I was going to say the first opening break wasn't his best. You figured to improve, but improve he has. 2 on the break. 1 in the side. Dressed up on the red 3. Just a little draw stroke, maybe. He's pretty straight. Could just hold there for the pink 4 in the corner. But really odds on favorite to get it 2-0. We'll see.
Yeah, it was in the last 16 of the World Championship last year that Duong Quoc Hoang beat Vamboning, 11 racks to 10. Vamboning, for the first time, was going into the World Championship as the reigning champion, following his win over Alban Ocean in the final in Milton Keynes about 10 months prior to that. Well, that was a surprise. It didn't come entirely out of nowhere that Duong won that match, because in the previous round, he'd played Wojciech Szewczyk, who was seen as one of the leading prospects for home success at the World Championship in Poland last year, and he beat him 11-1. So there was form going into it.
Yeah, well, if the break serves him, he's got a very high offensive gear, and he's an odd one to me. I always said that it looks like when he goes around the table, he may just fall over. He's just kind of nonchalant, very soft with the feet, just kind of slowly gets around, but got a lot of power. Big stroke. Now falling dead straight here and has to play with the draw stroke and stay underneath the 9. No reason to force it. May draw 1 rail into the 9. That's what I mean. You can play with a little more control, knowing you're going to get a little straighter to a pocket from underneath. Wouldn't knock that play, though. I mean, a lot of players would do the same. So I'm surprised he's going upper left here. A lot more missable. You can use the side rail to the upper right.
Yeah, it just fell into a little bit of doubt with where he finished on the 9, but that's a break and run in the second rack. And the Vietnamese flag flying high once again. Duong Quoc Hoang leads 2-0. Seem to be quite a few Vietnamese people there. I wonder, have they come over or do they live here in Germany?
I've actually met a few of those guys, and the ones I met lived here in Germany.
It's such a big deal for them to have big event like this with the best players in the world and someone from Vietnam in it, in any sport really, because when you look at the size of the country and the interest there is in sport over there, it's actually really surprising that Vietnam hasn't made more of an impact on the global sporting scene. But pool certainly seems to be their game. It is very much the country on the rise at the moment.
Yeah, it was incredible, really. If you saw any of the videos from Hanoi last year, players were going out into the cities, some of the pool rooms. And when you talk about pool rooms, like 50, 60 deep, the amount of pool rooms around Hanoi, and some of them had 70 tables, 60 tables, and very, very high-class places, and packed at all times, it seemed.
I remember a couple of the days I turned up at the venue in the morning and just seeing people queuing all the way through the grounds and out onto the street.
Leading 2 racks to 0.
And the way they were chanting the players' names during that wonderful final between Jason Shaw and Alban Ocean. Unprecedented scenes, really.
I'll tell you, night and day from the opening break, these last two. Now he's going to have to come with a long one, but he will attack, I believe, on the blue two. Kind of lays natural, even though it's difficult to come down for the red three. Yeah, I thought it was something special, Michael. I mean, there were 2,500 people in the stands, 2,300, something like that. Another 500 or 600 outside waiting on autographs and pictures, and just a moment to kind of rub elbows with these great players. And there was so much respect as well. It's just really incredible. Keeps it natural here. I think he kind of comes 2 rails at the 3-5 that are jammed up on the bottom cushion. Like I said, he's a shot maker, Michael. So. Want to become a professional pool player, and I highly advise it where the game's at and where it's going. Knocking the tough ball in, that's going to be a big part of it. Tactical part of the game is huge, and it's very necessary, but you want to separate yourself. It's all about the big shots that are made and continuing to put pressure.
You know, when these big events come around, some new fans are attracted to the sport. So if you're not familiar with the name of Shane Van Boening, he's in the conversation when people talk about the greatest players of all time. He's had a lot of success in recent years. Joint record 5 US Open titles. Finally became world champion at last 2 years ago. So the start Duong Quoc Hoang is making here is very impressive. He's not fazed by any of that at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have the Mosconi Cup, as we should. Willie Mosconi, one of the greatest ever. Now the Reyes Cup has been announced, but you wouldn't doubt one day if they could afford another cup of some sort that it may be the Vamboning or the SVB Cup. I mean, when it comes to titles, I mean, it's hard to argue he may not be the greatest ever.
Of course, we already have the junior event named after him at the US Open.
Confident swing there. Could just pull this back, may cheat the pocket, play the 9 in the same side. All class for Hoang so far.
It's back-to-back break and runs. It's 3 racks in a row to start. Duong Quoc Hoang has got big intentions here. He leads the legend Shane Van Boening 3-0. So this was the 3-ball that Shane Van Boening missed from very close range in the opening rack, and he's basically been sitting in his chair stewing pretty much ever since then. We talked about pool being very much on the rise in Vietnam. Traditionally, the major sport there has been football. But Duong Quoc Hoang has started this with a hat-trick, including back-to-back break and runs. He's raced into a 3-0 lead. Hopeful glance at the 9, but don't think it was ever really heading in that direction.
No, and it seems the 2's locked up on the black 8. He's going to look at a very difficult combination. Now, if there is a little space, he decides to shoot it, he'll have to put some speed on this not to get somewhat of a kick on the black 8, sending it into the right side rail. But this is where I was talking about. Sometimes, you know, a little bit of a questionable decision, but it's usually offensive. So it's very entertaining to watch, and he pulls off a number of these shots, wanting to keep SVB in the chair. And some players would say that was a little too risky, cue ball flying up and down the table, but actually didn't mind it. Kind of felt like, where are you going to push out?
Extension
SVB might
called.
play the same combination. Looks like the blue 2 does have the upper right. If he makes it, probably going to be pretty long distance on the 3 if he has a look at all. He's flipped the 2.
Said Van Boning's been sitting stewing in his chair. Moments like that won't lighten the mood at all.
No, but I'll tell you one kind of saying I love is fortune favors the brave, and attacking on that 2-8 combo to start. Big shot here on the red 3. He'll roll this, I think, with the pink 4 maybe in the right middle next.
Didn't seem to hit it with enormous conviction. Anyway, Van Boening back to the table. The only player ever to have successfully defended this title. Back in 2015 in Manchester.
Yeah, good speed. It should be a kick to the top cushion. The reason why you want to kick there versus the bottom cushion is you're trying to bring the cue ball down towards traffic. Kick upward off this bottom cushion, you're bringing the 3 and the cue ball to a very open space at the top of the table. Usually about medium speed. And this is all you want, trying to leave it a little tricky. He's certainly done that, it seems. Yeah, I wonder if Shane is looking at a cross-side bank. I don't even know if it plays. It looks like it does.
Extension called.
So he's looking maybe to bank the 3 across the cue ball over. Bank the 3 in the top of your screen, the top middle. Could dig off the 3, playing the 3 into the 7, trying to bring the cue ball 1 rail behind the green 6. Probably kind of the prudent play. Got to be careful though. He may fluke the 7 in off the 9. He definitely wants the 3 to carry up the table a bit off the left side of the brown 7. He's overhit this.
Does he look a bit edgy to you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you and I talked about it. I could kind of see it getting a little red from some distance sitting in his chair, especially Hoang making some incredible shots and really maybe stewing over that one mistake on the red 3 in game number 1. Oh, he's going to get a fluke here. That's not going to help things as far as SVB is concerned.
And look where the cue ball was finished in terms of position on the 4.
Yeah, and I tell you, I mean, SVB's worked on his mental. After making a mistake, he could kind of hold on to it sometimes. But, he said it in the interview a little bit. Sometimes, there's a certain player that just kind of runs good against you. And he's beat him the last couple times. And this could kind of get a little mental, even for the great Shane Van Boening. And a little tricky here. It's not the shot you want, a dead slow roll. If he tries to come across, he's going to have to play the 7 from a bit of distance. Less angle than I thought. I thought it was a little heavier. Nice touch there on the cue ball.
Well, he'd be the first to acknowledge he's had quite a bit of fortune in this match. but he's also played very, very well. Overall, you could make a case that it's as well as we've seen anyone start a match in the first round of this World Masters. And it's reflected in the scoreline because he leads the two-time World Masters winner, Shane Van Boening, by 4 racks to 0. You know, we talk about Vietnam being on the rise in pool at the moment, but it's remarkable, actually, when you look back in the record books to the first ever World Cup of Pool in Wales in 2006. Vietnam actually reached the semi-finals of that. After that, though, it took them 17 years to win a single match at the World Cup again. And that was delivered by Duong Quoc Hoang and Nguyen An Tan last summer in Spain. They beat Kuwait 7-3 in the first round. And they were 1 rack away from getting through to the quarterfinals because their run was then ended in a hill-hill finish against the British pairing of Jason Shaw and Elliot Sanderson. It must be such a thrill for them to be coming here to watch one of their own in a sporting event in the country that they've moved to, if indeed they are all now based in Germany, as you were indicating earlier. Because as we were saying, there aren't many Vietnamese people competing at a high level in any sport on the world stage.
Well, the things that are
Duong Quoc Hoang to break, leading by 4 racks to 0.
the things they're doing as far as the pool rooms and promoting the game back home, of course, a World Nineball Tour event, one of the majors as well. Got to believe with that much interest in that many people, it's just a numbers game. Uh-oh, that's the one that can turn things around. Ball in hand, for some reason, can make you not so stressed.
Ball in hand. Please start the clock.
It's been almost a quarter of an hour since Van Boening potted a ball.
Yeah, and I think he'll try to play a pretty careful rack here to get on the board and get on the breaking end of things. He hasn't broken the balls yet in this match, losing the lag. Then again, of course, losing the next 4 games. Of course, one of the things that makes Shane so great is not fearing a shot. Of course, he's so heady when it comes to decisions. Of course, one of the best breakers, but he's got to loosen up a little bit. He's not the type of player to try and play safe every game in a comeback or even in winning, right? So, love that stroke a little bit better. Got a little more out of the cue ball than he wanted, but gonna be okay. A lot of times Shane doesn't like to float this with the draw. A lot of times he'll come back above the side off the second cushion like that and take a little more distance on the 8.
So for now, at least, the early momentum of Duong Quoc Hoang has been halted. Came to an end with that scratch off the break. Shane Van Boening did the rest. He's opened his account. Duong's lead trimmed just slightly to 4-1. There's been a lot of talk today about Efren Reyes with the announcement of the new Reyes Cup, Europe versus Asia, starting in October in Manila. For a long time, it was said that Efren Reyes was the biggest money winner in the history of the game. Now, there's no definitive list because there have been so many tournaments played in different ways all around the world. And it is now generally accepted, though, that Van Boening is probably just about past Efren Reyes, but still wouldn't be a huge amount in it. Both won over $2 million in prize money. And that is the event we're talking about. And you can just see the image there of Efren Reyes And so appropriate that the cup has been named after him. We've been talking about this for about 5 or 6 years, that it was time to bring an Asian team into the fold amid all the success the Mosconi Cup has enjoyed over 30 plus years now. Well, it's finally going to happen. It was announced earlier today in Manila. The 17th of October will be the first day of the first ever Reyes Cup.
Rack 6, Shane Van Boening to break, trailing by 4 acts to 1.
And of course, when we get to the first really big ranking event of this year, the UK Open, the week after next, competition for places in that will be a big talking point.
Yeah, absolutely. Ever since that prize fund was announced there in Saudi as well, players were talking about how much influence that one tournament would have on both America and the European teams, but now also Team Asia for the Reyes Cup. So a lot of change, but all in a great direction.
Well, you look at guys like Omar Al Shaheen and Mohamed Soufi, who've both reached the final of the World Championship in recent years. Middle ranking players, I think you'd say, and Soufi was a real outsider when he got to the final last year. The opportunity is there now for someone to go to Saudi Arabia, do something like that and really change their life, because that could then lead on to being involved in things like Mosconi Cup, Reyes Cup, all the opportunities it would open. You could set yourself up for life with just one really big week in Saudi Arabia in June.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be a heck of a sweat. I can't wait, really, and really interested in the country as well. Didn't seem much dilemma. I thought he would play off our right side of the blue 2, his left side coming 2 rails with some left spin, trying to float behind the 6. I think he's got to play off his left side of the blue 2. You playing it thick, banking the 2? Trying to come behind the purple 5. Really nice touch. And the reason why players play that, because it's a real natural 2 rails into that. So it's all about a little bit of the hit plus the speed control. When that does leak out, though, you feel a little foolish. He's looking to kick 2 rails at this. I thought from that angle, the scratch is pretty big off the back of the 2. I thought he may go 1 cushion in the same direction, trying to maybe pocket the 2 in the upper left. Don't want to come in off this angle, sliding off the back of the 2, especially the slick table, very easy to hug. Kind of hydraulic a bit. Lose the cue ball in the upper left. Unless he plays it lightly. Not the worst. Looks like he's trying to bring the cue ball down, maybe below the brown 7, 2 cushions. Could leave a long shot here against a guy that doesn't mind the long ones. It's a little light with the cue ball. Kind of like banking the 2, the blue 2 back at the brown 7, bringing the cue ball behind the green 6 off a couple cushions. Now he's hit it too thin. He's going to need some help, and watch out for the 9. Could get a quick one. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. Is there enough room to play the kiss shot? I don't think so. Does this game 6 feel like uber crucial to both player for some reason here, Michael? I get the feeling it's like a huge game in this match.
Well, you look at it and say that Vamboning really needed to win the previous rack, but now he kind of needs to win this one as well, because if he doesn't, suddenly 5-1 slipping away from him. And sometimes the way a rack unfolds, when it's a bit protracted and drawn out and you get exchanges like this, can always add to the tension and make it feel like a rack that's towards the end of the match.
He's going to get a bit of a roll here.
Yeah, a couple of balls being missed along the way adds to the tension of a rack, of course.
Yeah, and that tells me maybe a little unsettled, because I think normally he just levels out and cuts that in and comes across below the pink and plays the 3. You know, he tried to come back with the cue ball for a backdoor safety. That's the only reason you would shoot the shot like that, because you feared maybe the miss was there.
Foul shot.
So maybe a couple ball in hands to get SVB back in this match.
Please start the clock.
Scratch on the break there in game number 5. And now a bit unfortunate to go by the 7 there. He hit the ball how he wanted, banking the blue 2 back down. There's a bit more angle on this pink 4 than maybe the TV is telling us. So a hair of a missable ball. Like the decision, play it with a bit more speed coming across. Now, did he fall a little bit funny where he can't stay above the 8 so easily? That would be the nice path to get on the green 6 to get back on the brown 7.
Did make it past this opening round last year when the tournament was played in Brentwood in the southeast of England, beat David O'Cady, but then lost in the quarterfinals to Ko Pin Yi, who went on to win the title. Barring the sort of miscue we've seen from a couple of players in this tournament, nothing can go wrong really from here. Duong Quoc Hoang won all of the first 4 racks, but he gave up ball in hand in both of the next 2. And both times, Shane Van Boening extracted full price. He's back within striking distance now. It's 4-2.
Shane Van Boening to break, trailing by 4 racks to 2.
But it was a lot worse not so long ago. He was 4-0 down, but has capitalised on ball in hand in both of the last 2 racks. Oh, and he's capitalised there on some very good fortune. A golden break for Shane Van Boening. It's the second one we've seen in this tournament, the first from him, and it's a very different match all of a sudden, Jake.
Yeah, absolutely. And does anyone get more golden breaks than SVB? I know Lechner did something special last year at the Whirlpool Masters.
Yeah, Lechner had 4 in one match in this tournament last year.
But I think Shane has made the most that I can recall.
Yeah, got the thump just at a perfect angle from the cue ball, and after that it was only heading in one direction. So how quickly it's all changed. Just a few minutes ago we were talking about the prospect of it going 5-1, and now that lead that Duong built so well early on in the match, including a couple of breaking runs, has all but disappeared. Vamboning is now breaking with a chance to draw level. Vietnam won its first Olympic gold medal in Rio in 2016, Jeremy. Here's a tough one for you. What sport was it in?
Rack 8, Shane Van Boening to break. Trailing by 4 racks to 3.
2016, you said?
Yeah, in Rio.
Rio, so it was the Summer Games.
Yeah.
Right? So, gymnastics? No, probably not.
Ooh. And close to another 9. Dropping in the corner. No, it was shooting. Yeah, in 2016, their only ever Olympic gold medal. They had actually never won any Olympic medal until as recently as 2000 in Sydney.
Was it the same sport?
No, it was taekwondo.
Oh, okay. Looks like the blue 2 does not pass the 8. See how he's cueing the ball. It's hitting a high ball here, so maybe it does. Otherwise, he's chipping this, trying to play a safety. Okay. Oh, huge miss here. You could see just a hair of a hiccup swing, and probably didn't have the entire pocket, but definitely missed his mark. And now we're going to see Hoang back at the table.
Fine outcome. And every time we talk about Duong Quoc Hoang over the last year or so, it seems we talk about his win over Vamboning at the World Championship last year. I think most people have forgotten what actually happened to him next. He was then beaten in the next round by Woo Kun Lin. But what a fine run it was. Would not have been tipped as a quarter-finalist by many people at the start of that week in Poland.
Yeah, I remember watching Woo in many of those matches. Just was pure class the entire week. Before going down, I think, the semifinal.
Yeah. To Mohammed Sufi, who we were just talking about.
Was it Sufi? Yeah, it was. No, Sufi beat Ocean, or was it? Yeah, it was Woo, wasn't it? Yeah, he beat Ocean in the quarters.
In the quarters,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Woo's super solid player, though, and another one we'll see back out here. It got a little flat, so anytime you got to draw the cue ball, it's all about the speed control, and the problem is not getting on the brown 7, but getting on the brown 7 correctly, or efficiently enough, anyways, to be back on the black 8 upstairs at the top rail. It's going to get a little thin. I think there's no scratch here naturally, not in the left middle or the upper right. Type of shot could get a little kick on the 7. And this kind of got nasty from nowhere. Couldn't put a lot of speed. That may have opened up the cue ball for that scratch we were talking about. That's a big sign of confidence there, putting a lot of speed on that 8, cueing near the rail.
Extension call.
Well, there was an unexpected miss. The ball to the corner in the opening rack that let Duong in to win that, and he went on from there to build a 4-0 lead. Vamboning missing from a bit further out, but still unexpected, into another corner pocket at the other end of the table, has proved decisive in this rack. There was still plenty for Duong Quoc Hoang to do there, but he's done it all, and he's got a bit of daylight again. It's 5-3. And these Vietnamese fans are absolutely loving it, which is no surprise to us, of course, after what we witnessed in Hanoi back in October. And this was the man who won the title. Didn't get off to a good start at all in the final against Albin Ocean, but Jason Shaw came good in the end and won it in the last rack. Ocean was absolutely devastated. Bit of a smile there, but I saw him sitting in the corner of the venue on his own a few minutes later, and the look on his face was in real contrast to the jubilation you can see there from Jason Shaw. Hanoi Open champion. And you know what, these pictures, I always say, from that week in Hanoi, Jeremy, look great, but really they don't even tell the full story. Only being there, I think, could really bring home just what a massive success that event was and how much it meant to the people out there.
Yeah, it's an incredible week. I won't forget for a long time, and really can't wait to make our way back there. And of course, now added right after it, the Reyes Cup, just what, about a 2-hour plane ride to Manila, I think.
Rack 9, Duong Quoc Hoang to break, leading by 5 racks to 3.
Another nice break off, really past the first one. That scratch, and what was it, rack number 5. Really broke the balls very well. Interested to see what he does here, and if he has an attacking look at the blue 2 elevated over the 3, we're gonna find out how good he feels. Hard not to go for this if it does go. He's looking at the kick shot off the bottom cushion. He's got to come into this with spin, so he's going to aim away using some right side spin. That way the 2 doesn't go towards the 8, may go towards the left middle a bit, and that's a good look. He could make this, but I guess the cueing over the red 3 was really hampering and made him go a little otherwise on the blue 2. We're going to see SVB attack here.
Extension called.
Yeah, and this is not easy unless he wants to play this with some side spin, that being left or right, but a straight high ball. He overcuts it to the pocket a little bit. Watch out for the scratch. Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. He's going to get the 9 instead.
Hang on.
Shane Van Boening.
It's another quick finish, and Shane Van Boening has now won 4 of the last 5 racks. Duong Quoc Hoang still in front, but just by 1 now at 5-4. Shane Van Boening was 4-0 down to Duong Quoc Hoang, the man who ended his world title defence last year in this last match of the first round at the World Masters. Things have turned around quite a bit. He's still behind, but only by 1 now as he breaks off in the 10th.
He's going to be all right with this. A little thin on the blue 2, but not too far away, not too overstretched. Very good at easing the ball in on a thin shot. Saw him on the break, kind of get out of the arena a little bit. Almost doing what would look like a calisthenic, really, trying to get the blood flowing. I think he's feeling a little fatigue at the moment.
Well, we were talking earlier about the fact that he practices so much. The other thing he does, he plays a lot. He plays in so many tournaments of various sizes. Basically every opportunity there is to be playing in something. Generally see him there, and perhaps it's all catching up with him a bit. He does look a bit fatigued, it has to be said.
Yeah, just even a shot like that. And what happens when you're fatigued is you normally get a little quick with the stroke and tends to lean towards a miss hit of the cue ball from time to time. To get a roll here, though, another thing about Shane is, you know, he's in high demand, you know, so he does a lot of extras, you know, tries to keep it limited as much as possible. But as years go on, you know, that's part of the business, is some exhibitions here and whatnot. And he was just in Asia doing some with Efren Reyes for a week or so. Look at this jump shot. He's got to land on top of the three. May lose the three off the table here.
Well, it has gone off the table, but into a pocket, but looks a bit stuck to the four.
Yeah, but everything considered, he's got to be happy the three went in flying. Okay, we'll see how he plays this. He goes for distance, he's going to give a look, so he may have to just come 2 rails to the center of the table. And I'm surprised he didn't recognize not to come all the way down. Not only did the pink 4 come out more, but the cue ball also opened up. So a little of that experience there on a shot like that.
Extension called.
You have to go for the cut shot here. Looks like he can just play it a couple different ways, whatever's the most comfortable.
And now that he's made that, the chance is there to draw level for the first time since the start of the match.
Pretty ideal here, considering. Just come up the left side of the table. Could come 2 rails out. So after a rare miss from SVB, even though we've seen a bit of a roll. Hoang with the jump shot on the 3. Bit of a poor safety in return.
So the comeback is complete. He was 4-0 down at one stage. He's now drawn level. Shane Van Boening has made it to 5-all against Duong Quoc Hoang. Good news from his point of view is if he does get through, he won't play until the last match again tomorrow, so it gives him time to rest up. But if he's really feeling seriously fatigued, is that going to be enough to make much difference?
Yeah, well, you know how jet lag is, and of course, you know, Shane is 40, but he has been working out a bit more of late and trying to trim a few pounds because he knows it's a huge year pool for him in 2024. So I think it'll be night and day difference, to be honest with you, just kind of knowing him. The funny thing is, he's not only just jet lag, but without jet lag, he's kind of a guy that rises with the sun no matter what, and could maybe use an afternoon nap if he does get through this match today, leading into that quarterfinal tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be Joshua Filler to start things off in the first match, the home favourites against Ko Ping Chung. Then Ko Pin Yi will follow against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. The two Ko brothers, if they both get through, They'll play each other in the semi-finals on Sunday. And then into the evening session tomorrow, Alban Ocean against Fedor Gorst will be first up. And that will be followed by the last quarter-final between Jason Shaw and the winner of this match, which now looks a lot more likely to be Shane Van Boening than would have been the case about 40 minutes ago. 5-all.
He's not snookered on the blue too, but I tell you, a whole lot better being stuck to it. Especially, I don't really see a whole lot of safety options. Got a little action on the 9-ball there, but I have no clue what he's going to do from here. Not at the moment, anyways. Yeah, it looks like he's trying to play the 2 over to the rail with some right spin, but is it going to take enough to get behind the black 8 here? I don't, you may see a push out here. I don't know if I like this so much. Now the 3 is a little covered up with the brown 7, the red 3 up the table. So he's just going to use a little speed control here, both on the object ball and the cue ball. I think a tough task. Thought it was a really, really kind of hard option. Not a whole lot there. That's why I thought he may push out, even though, of course, sitting on top of the blue 2.
You know, that run to the quarterfinals of the World Championship was not an isolated incident for Duong Quoc Hoang in context of his 2023 season. He was also a quarterfinalist at the Spanish Open last summer. He was 1 rack away from going through to the semis. He was beaten 10-9 by Mark Bijsterbosch. You consider Bijsterbosch then went on to beat Pius Labutus in the semi-final and got within 1 rack of winning the title itself. Makes you think what might have been for Wong if he'd got through that quarter-final. But it was so important for him, having had that great run in Poland, to back it up in another big event, and he did. Also got to single elimination at the UK and European Opens.
Yeah, it's these pressure situations like this where the safety isn't so obvious. Maybe Hoang is a little bit lacking in the knowledge, but we're looking at the jump to 3 in. That's how difficult the safety is. Remember the 3 he landed on moments ago? Well, the proximity of the pink 4 here, he's got to do the same. You would think Shane's going to play the cue ball behind the pink 4. Bringing the 3 back down table, but the snooker very necessary. Watch out for the 9 on the bottom cushion. Doesn't get the snooker, could give up a kiss shot.
So is this going to be the moment when Shane Van Boening finally leads this match?
Yeah, that little shot was tougher than it looked. Anytime the ball stands up a little bit when you hit it so well, that means the angle was pretty tough. Watch out on the draw stroke. Come back for the combo. Be on the rail. Now if the 9's frozen, this is no hanger. Now if it's a little off, pretty easy combination for Shane.
Oh, hang about. Oh, and just when it looked as though Shane Van Boening lead for the first time, another twist.
Yeah, and I think it's somewhat similar to a combination that FSR shot earlier today where a ball went in. The second ball went in unexpectedly, and I don't think there was any concern on the cue ball there from Shane, and I didn't really see it either.
Back to the head shaking of earlier. Well, there's still a little bit of doubt about the outcome of this rack. And Duong landed the way he did on the 8. He was always fancy to get it sorted, get back in prime position for the 9. And with that 9, he regains the lead at 6-5 in extraordinary circumstances. So still plenty for Shane Van Boening to think about. We've got to have another look at this, Jeremy. Seemed to take a really long time for the cue ball to actually get to the pocket.
Yeah, well, sometimes the anticipation or, you know, just you forget how slick the table is, and just on that last half of revolution, lost the cue ball.
Yeah, still looked like there was a chance it might just about cling on and stay on the table, but toppled over. And so, instead of leading for the first time, Shane Van Boening has gone back into arrears here.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, you make a mistake like that in such a crucial spot. Hoang, that's been breaking the balls really well, I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks and gets a shot.
Rack 12, Duong Quoc Hoang to break. Leading by 6 racks to 5.
Oh, another nice break off. He's going to get a look at the blue 2. I don't know if there's much offensive. Maybe a cross corner bank. Tell you, it's not the worst. I think it does play. Maybe the purple 5's in the way, but he can play position up the table, and it's the type of bank that doesn't want to hang very often. It either wants to kind of go or get away from that lower left corner. I'm sure it'll be the safety, but what do you think about the bank shot? Nice touch there. Well, I hate to burn an extension here. I know it looks like a big shot, and it is, but don't think you're really going to pick apart this shot very much, and there may be a crucial one coming up later in this rack. You anticipate the hit here on the blue 2. it's going to open up. Well, not the easiest. May consider a cross-side bank. Bit of a two-way. Feel like holding the cue ball on the upper end of the table.
Extension called.
Tell you, when the safety doesn't look so good, I think I got to go for the bank here. It's a game-winning shot. I said, you don't have to leave much with a little bit of a backdoor safety, getting separation on the cue ball and the blue too. Yeah, I think he's got to hit before the side and kind of spin into this ball. May fluke this if he gets behind it.
Duong had tactical control over the rack early on, having had the break, but swung the other way now. He's the one with some figuring out to do.
Yeah, this is a pretty easy two-rail hit here. Needs a little spin. Is he going one cushion? Wow.
Well, fair to say he's wrested back the initiative now.
Again, that's why the players stay so aggressive, as players in return are so good with the rail first shots. Jump shot, so creative.
Okay, so a chance. Put a bit of distance between himself and Vamboning again.
Yeah, a bit of distance with not much left in the match. That's the key. 4-0 doesn't look as bad as 7-5 and wanting for breaking the balls if you're SVB.
I'll put it this way. If it does go 7-5, Vamboning then needs to win 4 of the 5 remaining racks or he's out.
Confident stroke there on the purple 5. And that's where you could see the table just has a hair of a lean to the right at times. Certainly will be addressed after this session's over, heading into our quarterfinals.
And such a good round for the favourites, and there was no bigger favourite heading into these first round matches than Shane Van Boening. Duong Quoc Hoang could be booking the trend here. He's a couple of racks away from pulling off an upset. He now leads 7-5. Well, what an eventful last couple of racks it's been. Shane Van Boening looked like he'd taken the lead at 6-5, and then the cue ball just trundled towards the pocket and fell in. And then in the next rack, Duong Quoc Hoang manages to pull out that pot on the 2, and he goes on from there to lead 7-5. Shane Van Boening, the man you can see in the picture there, the only player ever to have successfully defended this title, and looking this week to emulate Ralph Souquet in a sense. He's the only players to have won it more than twice, but he needs a big, big finish here.
Well, the blue 2's up there by itself. That's what you want to look at if you're Hoang, right? Great chance here to get to the heel. Got some work, of course. Bit of a long 2 ball, not too bad. Really from the red 3 to the pink 4. That's the real question mark, you may say, in the rack.
Van Boening has had quite a few surprise defeats in matchroom events in recent months. You think back to the later stages of 2023, the loss to Marco Teucher at the US Open, to Kyle Amoroto in Hanoi.
Yeah, did he come far enough? Didn't want to have to go forward with the cue ball with the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 here on the bottom end. Looks like maybe with a high ball and a hair of left check, maybe able to go one rail between all those balls. We'll see. That's where he's going. He's going forward. I kind of got a little quick. Here's the opening. SVB is needed. Didn't get much of a shot though. Bank this ball below the purple here. May fluke it off the purple. May fluke it off the purple. Not what he wanted. I don't know if he's left a straight in, but he's definitely left a rail first. Not easy though. Tell you, if he plays this rail first as well, he's got to hit it with some speed, right? The cue ball's going to be tracking right towards the black 8 and the green 6. I don't think you want to slow roll this or hit it lightly and just get pinned.
Called.
Even if you don't end up with a shot on the pink, you at least want to have a look at it. He's got to aim way up the rail here on the slick table. Almost threatening catching the purple 5. Wow, look where he's going to leave this cue ball over the green 6. Ooh, this is nasty. And if he tries to cross this, he could get a double kiss that is normally not there, but since you're jacked up, you don't quite get through the balls well. Did beat the double kiss. Nice stroke there. Well, it wasn't the best of hits on the red 3, but did get the cue ball over the green 6 again, and not much angle. So Shane just played to make this, and then a simple safety maybe. Does he go forward for a cross bank on the pink 4?
Extension call.
Definitely a shot, type of shot we've seen miss from other players.
Not the first time tonight that red 3 has been his nemesis. That's where all his trouble started, really, early on in the match. This one was a much more difficult shot.
Yeah, absolutely, no pun intended, but got the ball rolling for Hoang, right? Now, this is going to be difficult. He's going to have to make some shots because he can't really carry a whole lot of angle. He did about as well as he could, though, so he should be able to get the cue ball off the rail. Should get to the hill here, Michael.
That would leave Shane Van Boening needing to do something he hasn't done at any stage of this match. Win 4 racks in a row.
And I'll tell you, you know he's nervous, but you got to be impressed how he still swings the cue. A lot of players, myself included, probably would have cinched the 4 a little bit, just getting the cue ball off the rail, maybe 3 or 4 inches. He really unleashed the stroke there and got the cue ball out. Whew, about almost 2 diamonds.
Duong Quoc Hoang, the only debutant in the field, seen as the rank outsider of the field. He was a big outsider even to win this match, but now he very well might, because he's first to the hill. He leads Shane Van Boening, the former world champion, by 8 racks to 5. And no wonder they're raising that flag. They want to identify themselves with this player who's out there putting in a wonderful performance. He's had a bit of fortune along the way, but I think, as you said earlier, Jeremy, he's deserved it because he's shown such bravery and an attacking attitude. And at times, of course, he's played really well. Pulled out some big shots, had a couple of break and runs early on. So if he does get the win, it will be fully deserved.
Yeah, and I'll always be as clear about it as I see. And Shane's had a few rolls as well for the 5 games. Yeah, he's had a golden break, a combination, a couple lucky kick shots, or let's say a miss that didn't sell out. But I'll tell you what, the debutantes the last couple years in this Whirlpool Masters, that being Loho Sum 2 years ago and
Aranis
last year, they have really made some noise in this event. A finalist in one and a semifinalist in the other.
Just underlines, doesn't it, the production line there is from Asia. Just constantly new players coming through on the world stage. And of course, those 3 are all from 3 different Asian countries.
Rack 14, Duong Quoc Hoang spray.
Okay, so Duong Quoc Hoang
racks to 5
needs
on
one
the
more
hill.
rack, and if he needs them, he's got 4 attempts to get it.
Okay, wasn't the best sounding rack. Is the 6 going to bleed in? It is. The 3-9 combination is lined up once the blue 2 is gone. So really, if he has any angle here on the 1, this overhead will tell us. I don't know if we'll get to see the ball settle, but look at the 3-9 once the blue 2 is vanished from the table. And you think the debutantes really maybe play with a little less pressure compared to the others that are wanting this title so much?
Well, if you are coming in as a newcomer and big outsider. You can get yourself into that frame of mind, and if you manage to do that, it's got to help.
He tried to go rail first. Now he's going to dislodge this 3-9 a little bit and make it kind of nasty with the brown 7 on top of the 9. But SVB doesn't mind that at all. At least he's at the table. You would say that wasn't as much of a miss as you would think. It was all about trying to create movement of the cue ball, so he played rail first with draw spin, the easiest task at times. Boy, this is touchy. Shane's just a master of the slick table, though. I mean, he understands how it's going to react. Got a little thinner here than he wanted, but a lot of players would try to hit that thin and try and ease the ball down. And like I said before, self included, he just understands the ball's going to react so often.
Extension called.
I tell you, I mean, you don't want to get yourself in a bad position here, pocketing this 2 ball and getting up table to where you have to play a very delicate safety, maybe a kiss shot on the pink 4. I like that play. Pretty smart. A 2-way. But all the pressure's on Shane here. I mean, this is not easy. Now, can he play the red 3 in the middle and catch a little piece of the 7 to open up that cluster? That wasn't a miss, folks. That was by design.
Extension called.
He's really gave us a lot to look at with the kick shots in this match. So pay attention to this one, that's for sure. Is he coming behind this? I'd go one row at it. He's kicked a few in already.
Foul shot. Ball in hand.
Vamboning needed 4 racks in a row. This is a golden chance to get the first one.
Gotten to where he's got to play the draw stroke, so it's all about the speed. That'll do. So Shane Van Boening will battle on.
Shane Van Boening
Still needs to win
wins
another 3. Duong Quoc Hoang now leading 8-6. Plenty of past experience, though, for Vamboning of turning matches around, and the most obvious one, of course, was on the way to winning the World Championship. He had one of the most famous comebacks from the brink of defeat we've ever seen in the game.
Yeah, that was something special. What was that, round of 64 or 32?
So it would have been, yeah, last 32.
Yeah.
10-3 down to Mika Immonen and ends up winning 11-10. That's the miss from Duong Quoc Hoang. As you said, not anywhere near as bad a miss as it might have looked on the one. You just wonder if that shot had worked out. This match could have been long over by now.
Yeah, Shane's had one golden break. It seems like he's had action on the 9 every break since as well. Had an early combination. Interesting to see the stats on this match later on.
As always, the key stat is the bottom line, which is 8-6. In turn, that means Van Boening still needs another 3.
8 racks to 6.
All right, the 2's out in the open by itself a bit. That's always a good sign. Can't complain about this one. I'll tell you, it's in your hands to make it 8-7. I like to get the cue ball pretty heavy on the 3, maybe at the same angle on the red 3 that he's on now. He's going to use a lot of side spin. That's the angle he's going to gather, and that'll get him to where he can draw the cue ball 1 mile, maybe 2 rails around for the pink in the same lower right corner. Not an easy rack, though. He's got to work off of a purple 5 with the 7 near. The 6 is on the other side, the green 6. Which we can talk about other balls, but he doesn't want to land flat or straight on the rail here. So he'll go forward. That way he doesn't have to play the purple 5 and worry about the 7, the brown 7 that's near it. Should be 2 cushions. Wow. Maybe that pocket remembers that scratch on the combination.
Yeah, thinking exactly the same thing. Fell in a similar way, didn't it? Just paused for a moment, then toppled over. A bit like that Tiger Woods chip on the 16th at Augusta.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Thank you.
Never
Extension
forget
called.
that. That was against DeMarco, I believe, if I remember right. Then he went on to bogey 17 and 18 to go into the playoff. Thought DeMarco chipped in myself in the playoff. You get a little straight here, that could cause some problems getting from the 7 to the 8. It's got a little bit of an angle. Really doesn't mind going forward off of this shot, trying to create a little more movement on the cue ball.
And all of a sudden, it feels like anyone's match again.
Yeah, that ball kicked on him a little bit. That's why he didn't like it. Cue ball ended up a little short of his mark, but I don't think he cares about position at the moment that much. Just wants to make sure he keeps knocking them in.
And he has done throughout an excellently played 15th rack.
Shane Van Boening
Now
wins
he's
the
going to be
rack.
breaking with a chance to take it to Hill, just as it was in the World Championship last year.
for him. There is no break. SVB the same.
Yeah, normally we take one every 3 racks in this format, but towards the end of a match, sometimes we just continue on. He's already won a matchroom event this year, Shane Van Boening, taking the Premier League honours in Connecticut just a few weeks ago. Wasn't a great year for him in the matchroom events in 2023. The only one he really did well in, you would say, was the European Open, where he got to the semi-finals. Lost to the eventual winner, David Al-Kaidi. Big target in his year always, of course, is trying to get that record 6th US Open title and break the tie with Earl Strickland. But for the 2nd year in a row, he went out in the last 64, beaten by Chang Yung Lin. Things had become harder for him when he'd had to go through the loser's side after losing to Marco Teucher. Got through to single elimination, but of course had lost his seeding, and that was what landed him such a tough draw. And so the quest for that half dozen of US Open titles will continue on to Atlantic City this August.
Shane Van Boening to break, trailing by 8 racks to 7.
Right now, though, it's all about the World Masters, and he needs to win the last 2 racks.
How many kisses that cue ball got, but the last one he'll be a fan of. He's going to get lost in that upper left corner if it wasn't for the brown 7. 5 kisses on the cue ball I counted there.
Got more kisses than a bride on a hen night.
Yeah, is there something offensive that we may not see? He elevates the back end of the cue. Is there a kiss shot on the 6, maybe the green 6? I think so. Always dangerous, the safety, when there's a ball hanging, like if he cuts the 1 into the 6, maybe. I was looking at that. Is there a bank onto the 7, the brown 7 that he's standing near? Sure looks like it's close. He elevates the cue. I believe that's what he's playing. And he's leveling out, somewhat anyways. Well, Wang's going to get a chance. He likes to make big shots.
Just one big shot is really all that might be needed here. If this works out, it's a decent path to the line.
Yeah, and this is just, you got to rely on your talent and your training. Just knock this in. Little speed control coming down with the cue ball. He's overhit it. He's going to have to make a jump shot, which has been okay for him in this match. All that was is a little overcut. So watch where the 1 plays to the right side of the pocket, and that usually promotes a foot, foot and a half more cue ball travel. Gonna say if he makes this, he's gonna have to make another one on the pink 4. Now, I mean, 7's kinda, you know, over the pocket, but still very missable. I think you gotta go, though. Gotta take a chance to win. He's hit it nice. He's hit it nice. Still got some concern, though, because the angle he most likely may gather on the purple 5 may really involve the 9. That's not going to be so helpful getting back up on the green 6 at the top of your screen. Wants to draw this past the side, get below. Yeah, uh-oh. Did he lose it? Yes, he did.
Foul shots.
Yeah. And that shot, he just didn't really dial in on the line of the cue ball. I mean, it's almost like as soon as he hit it, I was pretty sure it was going to be close to that corner. What a turn of events, Michael.
Yeah, he'd done so much good work there to put himself in that position, to pot the few remaining balls he needed for one of the best wins of his life. And then that happens.
Yeah, and he didn't overhit the ball. He wanted to put the speed to come underneath and play off the bottom cushion. He just didn't really dial in the line of the cue ball. That was the real kind of mishap.
Doesn't seem that long ago that Shane Van Boening's only route through to the quarterfinals was to win the last 4 racks. He's now completed 3/4 of that task, and just as they did in the World Championship last year, they're going the distance. Shane Van Boening and Duong Quoc Hoang. Well, what an eventful rack, what an eventful match. And it's not just been a collection of the things you normally see, there have been all kinds of quirky things happening along the way as well. They've both had their roles, both played some very good stuff at times. Remember, Duong was leading 4-0. He'd already had a couple of break and runs by that stage. And it was the scratch from him on the break at the start of rack 5 that allowed Van Boening back into things. And the American then won 5 of the next 6 racks to level at 5-all. Looked like he was about to lead at 6-5. He'd actually potted the 9 in the next rack, but then the cue ball just followed it in. So Duong led 6-5. From there he advanced to 8-5. But Van Boening has won 3 racks in a row for the second time in the match. He still needs 1 more. And if he gets it, he'll set up a mouth-watering quarter-final tomorrow night against his old adversary, Jason Shaw. Somehow, Jay, you don't feel this final rack is going to be straightforward.
Yeah, it rarely is, Michael. A lot of times it's a push-out situation.
Shane Van Boening to break.
Well, he's going to get a combination here. What's the pink 4 going to do? Oh, my. Oh, my.
Well, if that pink 4 ends up anywhere else but there, the match is over.
He's got a kiss shot or a combination if the pink 4 doesn't get involved. Tell you what, win or lose, though, you got to give it to Wang, and he's certainly shown us why he was one of the wild cards in this event. Now what, though? Got to roll out and make the 9. Can he get at the 9 to push out and call and pocket it and put it on the spot? Maybe play from there. He's going to look at a high ball kick to try and make the 9. Remember the one he made in 2022, I believe it was, at the Moscone Cup on the 4-9, I believe, against Jason Shaw, if I remember correctly.
Push out called.
Okay, so he's going to pocket the 9 and come up the left rail. No way he's going to leave the 9 there.
Extension called.
He's contemplating that kick still, I believe. I really do. Okay, he's going to come. I'll tell you what, he's got to watch out for a couple things here. Doesn't want to leave a cross corner bank, that's for sure. He's left this awfully thin as well.
Yeah, you rarely see a ball potted on the push out. When the 9 goes down like that, comes back up, goes on the spot.
Yeah, the only ball that does on a push out. I was thinking this is awfully thin and maybe very difficult to control. You almost get to feel like Wang may be able to be the first one to come with a shot to win this match. This certainly doesn't bank, I think. Shane wouldn't have gotten this back if it did. double banking it. Enough speed with the cue ball. Well, I was fooled because he got a lot of that ball and maybe a little bit of a mistake passing up the push out.
Look how involved those people are in the match. The last rack of this second day in Hildesheim. They're loving it.
Well, we all, as a player, a fan, or anyone, would love to see the case game. Come 2 rails at this, you almost have to.
Extension.
That would be off the right side rail, the bottom cushion and underneath. May need a little speed to make sure you get a rail with the object ball. Yeah, we played it like that. What a beauty. What a beauty.
You think he feels comfortable in the big matches?
That was totally by design. You don't miss your mark and play that speed unless you're going into the ball first. So I thought for sure he's got to kick to the top rail here. That gives you way more options, not only to pocket this 3, but also to create some type of safety or at least something difficult. Yeah, that's all you can ask. May not leave a pocket. There's always drama when it's Hill, Michael. It's amazing, huh? I don't know about snooker so much when they get in that case frame, but rarely that many runouts in snooker anyways. There's always exchanges, but pretty good speed. It's all about laying the 3 on the rail or near it. Both players have used their extension, so get on with it. I'm not sure if Wang has actually.
He has used it, yeah.
This is going to give up a good shot. I'm kind of curious how he wanted to play it. Maybe lighter speed, leaving it on the other side of the 6, using the cue ball behind the 8. This is not how you wanted to hit this ball. Going to be fortunate not to end up with a tough shot. Wouldn't say he's got a hanger by any means, but you could see he wanted to play the pink in the lower left. So maybe a bit of nerves here at Hill. Why wouldn't there be?
Live to regret that for a very long time.
Yeah, it just wasn't the clean delivery he's had most of the match. Friendly double kiss on the purple into the green 6. Gonna have to play into the 6 again. Most likely going to have to play the 6 down the rail, past the side, unless he wants to put some speed and open the cue ball up away from the 6. I thought it would be something light. Is he banking this across the 6 like that, trying to get a little bit more off the rail? I tell you, he wants to play it in the lower left. No, he does, but the angle proper. Can he float it to get by the 8, or does he have to come 2 rails underneath the 7? And a nice shot. He actually went between them.
Duong Quoc Hoang getting that sinking feeling. He's contributed so much to a really memorable match. A match in which he led 4-0 at one stage, and later 8-5. But with so many blockbuster names already through to the quarterfinals, Shane Van Boening did not want to miss out on the party. And he's here for the weekend. Shane Van Boening, the former world champion who was dethroned from that crown by Duong Quoc Hoang, has beaten the man from Vietnam, this time by winning the last 4 racks. He goes through 9-8. Now it's Jason Shaw on what should be a memorable quarter-final Saturday here in Hildesheim. Oh, what a reaction that was from him at the end. Keeps his emotions in check generally during matches, but when the big moments arrive, he's pulled off the big wins. He's not afraid to show what it means to him, and very happy to sign all the autographs he's asked for now. So disappointing for Duong Quoc Hoang. He played so well at times, but Shane Van Boening really pulled it out so impressively. That last rack could have been over right at the start of it, but Van Boening had to battle on, and he did. And there you can see the stats. Couple of break and runs from both players. Duong had his very early on in the match. And look at that, the difference in balls potted, just 1. But it's such a cliche, but it's become a cliche because it's true. The only stat that matters is the one at the very top there. Shane Van Boening will be around for the quarter-final stage. It's been a great, great round for the favourites, for the seeds. The only one of the 8 seeds beaten was David O'Cady, and he lost to the defending champion, Ko Pin Yi. So, let's see what Carl Boyce has to say about it all. He's down on the arena floor with Di.
Well, thank you very much, Michael. We wanted a bit of drama, and we certainly got it, didn't we, Carl? My goodness, we didn't know which way that game was going to go.
That was one of the craziest matches, race to 9s, I've ever seen, honestly.
It was incredible, incredible.
I've literally been everywhere in this arena to watch every different race. I've been in the office, I've been in comms box, I've been down here.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable match. And, you know, Shane Van Boening, unless he wins a big major tournament, he don't really give much away, much emotion. You could see the relief at the end of that match. He's played thousands and thousands, probably millions of racks of 9-ball and matches. He's probably thinking, how have I just won that match?
Yeah, it was, I mean, to go to Hill, both players, would you say, they would probably admit there were quite a few errors in the early stages of this game?
Yeah, listen,
nerves.
If you watch any sport, you know, if you don't get off to the best start, especially in pool where you don't quite cue the ball, how it feels nice. Yeah. It's a bit like golf is if you don't come out the sweet spot of the club, all of a sudden the nerves setting, you just don't feel like you're timing things right. And that's what happens. But, you know, fair play to Shane. He dug in. It wasn't his, you know, A game, B game, C game. Yeah. You know, he's way down.
But he's got to win.
But he's got to win. That's all that matters. So, you know, it was just unbelievable. Absolutely insane match.
The players are just behind us signing autographs, and unfortunately Duong will be going home. It says straight elimination and knockout formula. And let's show you who's playing who tomorrow in our quarterfinals. Joshua Filler, the German, the local lad, is taking on Ko Pin Chung, who was won today. Ko Pin Yi, his brother, also victorious on day 2 against the #1 seed Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. Ocean, the Austrian, against Fedor Gorst and Shaw Van Boening. A match that stands out for you tomorrow?
Well, I would say all 4. I mean, I know that's easy to say that, but just
it's going to be brilliant.
Well, just looking at the quarterfinals, looking at that lineup, you know, if you're a pool fan, you are in for a real treat tomorrow, and if you're not, well, you best watch anyway, because 4 classic matches tomorrow.
Oh, it's going to be great. The 2 sessions, the first one starts at 11:30, second session is 6 p.m. on Sky Sports Mix.